the ceiling when I got my shirt hooked on something that ripped the back of it.
Oh, no.
I mean, yeah.
I don't care, you can.
My jeans were off. Aren't you?
I just figured, just say, like, give Doug 10 seconds
I would prefer somebody.
Oh.
and let him do it.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah, that's a slick move there.
That's a smart way.
That's a seasoned legislator there.
I was just trying to be courteous
That
Very
little,
nice.
to the,
he's been a pain in the ass.
with someone else. But I asked them.
I'd probably say. It's not a quick thing about it. They get hot.
So we are live and unmuted, guys.
So you want scissors.
No. Seal the power.
I do.
Please.
Oh, I actually want a table. Thank
You
you.
know why this is nice?
Doesn't have to be political, but it always is, you know?
That's the
I
only,
remember that.
yeah. If you changed the district and it would have been District 2, I wouldn't have run.
Me either. I think so.
Oh, yeah.
Called me Lord and then went to executive session.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So we can open up with the pledges,
Kind of open up just like normal and
just like a
then.
normal, and go, and then ask
Open the
ask
meeting
for.
and I'll do the roll call.
Sure.
Tried to get over.
I will be requesting privileges.
It's here.
When it comes down, it's, you know.
In interview.
step.
They're giving out, I mean, like.
20.
How are you? No, I know, sent over the flyer and stuff.
How long have you been with
I'm gonna write my, I also. On the screen. Jim's. Yeah. Yeah.
Hang in
Remember, I'm just curious. I signed 30.
I don't know if you understand.
I have to read this.
I understand exactly. Hey, talk to
Yeah.
Rich, and
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure there was.
It was her, not mine.
That's,
You got out.
I just, you know, wanted my opinion. And I said, well, I can go talk to her.
I don't know, she's
Yeah, it's.
perfect, she's gotta be.
But I have to
Or you've been in public sector, you're out. Private. Been in private.
well,
The
you
only
just,
one.
you do your deed.
My video.
Yep, you don't need a motion.
I don't.
That would require a second. Yeah, I remember
You have no. I hope I'm.
Yeah, right up on the front.
Maybe 2 through 7.
No, just 2 and 3. I only got
Or
3
two,
words.
there you go.
I'm not interested.
First one.
All right. I have to say.
I graduated.
I don't have to.
We can switch days.
Ouch.
No,
figure
you
out
don't.
when it becomes
But in your- There's only 3.
Ready to start?
I'm gonna-
45.
Department head request. You were the one that brought it to the place.
Yep.
Or if.
Sometimes they can. Those days.
Kind of like.
Yep.
It's a regular meeting. Yeah.
I can just say.
Right.
No, you don't have to say that.
That's where.
Soon as you gentlemen.
But those are the only 2
Might
reasons.
be Chris.
I'm downstairs.
I just got a text from someone who wanted.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but. Things,
No,
No.
I've been busy. I earned my money today.
meeting starts,
But
Even
executive session, we come out,
Yeah, he even took time to picture with me.
come out of executive in here. Second.
Not the only lawyer I saw.
Continues, you can ask.
About 5 foot.
I could ask,
That recess.
I could ask the legislature.
So you could.
I don't need it.
Just, we'll reconvene
See
at
how long that
5:30.
meeting.
that's what.
About. Yeah, you take public usually, yeah, usually 5:30, all right.
Call the meeting to order. Everyone could make sure they turn off their electronic devices, please. I appreciate it. Let's stand for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moment of silence, please. Thank you. Roll call.
Jim Basile,
Present.
Andy Dennison, Lydia Patty Ruffini. Here. Chris Peach.
Here.
Eileen McNabb Coleman.
Present.
Bob Shay,
Present.
Hans Petcher,
Here.
Mark Strong,
Here.
Heidi Nightingale,
Present.
Lane Daly,
Here.
Trisha Kerr. Here. Christina Clarko.
Here.
Michael Video is excused.
Oh, he's
Brian-
here.
Oh, did he come in?
Yep.
Oh, sorry, Mike. Mike Video is here. Brian Madul is excused and David Poole. is revoked.
All right, thank you. We have listed for starting the meeting at 4:45 today for an executive session. Can I have it was for collective negotiations present to Article 14 of the Civil Service Law for CSEA. Can I have a motion to go into executive
Move
session?
it, Lydia. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
is this doing this? Why is nothing easy? Because they're recording it. They're streaming it live.
Great. Everything's live. Before it starts, I have to vote and I have to, you want to call that guy again?
They're all coming in. I think this will go off. I think this will go off once everybody gets back on. And you're unmuted. Start video. There. Weird. So things must be when it starts to stream. But it should go off when you get out of it, check it itself, and I guess, and then- What did you do?
2,800 cash and 3%, 4%. You sure I don't need to hit anything else? The other people are already on there. People are.
Yeah, you're on. You're right there. But they're doing something here with this. This has gotta. I don't know why this is on.
Probably a man behind that, probably.
It's dangerous.
Yeah, we have.
Hey, Chris.
Five.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
All right, buddy, thanks. All right, bye-bye. He's fine.
We're going to go ahead and resume the meeting. Thank you very much. Guests that are here today. Executive deaths, our sincere condolences to the families and friends of Jim Tabor, former Cayuga County Undersheriff, Acting Sheriff, Legislator, and Jail Administrator. Also to Terry Sullivan, former Cayuga County Sheriff's Custody Officer. Public hearing we have set for 5:30 on local law providing an exemption from real property taxes to Cold War veterans as authorized by section 458-B of the New York Real Property Tax Law. Everybody should have a copy of that. The legislature should have a copy on their desk. We'll open up that public hearing. Is there, I don't know if there's a phone number for anybody that wants to call in on it. I don't see it listed. And you can leave that open until the end of the
You
meeting.
can go ahead and, here you go. Go ahead and read that one.
Okay, so there is a call-in number. That number is 315-294-8051. 315-294-8051. All right, we have 5 proclamations tonight. One of them for the public safety telecommunications will not be read tonight, presented. It'll be done at a later date. The Spangler group, and so she was.
I know, but Ben is here. Are you here to accept it?
I can accept it. We have some people here that can accept
Here
it.
for it?
Okay, so then I bumped that up to first, so we'll go with it now. We're gonna go a little bit out of order. So if you want to bring your group up.
Or not.
Proclamation, National Public Safety Telecommunications Week, April 9th through April 15th, 2023. Whereas emergencies can occur at any time that require police, fire, or emergency medical services. And whereas when an emergency occurs, the prompt response of police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property. And whereas the safety of our police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of the information obtained from the citizens who telephone and the Cayuga County E911 Emergency Communications Center. And whereas public safety telecommunications are the first and most critical contact our citizens have with emergency services. And whereas public safety telecommunications are the single vital link for our police officers, firefighters, and paramedics by monitoring their activities by radio, providing them information, and ensuring their safety. And whereas public safety telecommunicators of Cayuga County Emergency 911 Center have contributed substantially to the apprehension of criminals, suppression of fires, and treatment of patients. And whereas each dispatcher has exhibited passion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of their jobs in the past year. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, David S. Gould, Chairman, who was not able to be here today, on behalf of the Cayuga County Legislature and fellow legislatures, do hereby declare the week of April 9th through 15th, 2023 to be the National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week in Cayuga County in honor of the men and women whose diligence and professionalism keep our city and citizens safe. Thank you very much. Okay, next proclamation, saluting Port Byron School boys varsity basketball team, and I'm going to ask Lydia, the district legislative representative, to go ahead and present this proclamation.
And if I could please have my friends from Port Byron School join me. Mr. Jorgensen, please. Gentlemen. When I first met most of the kids at Port Byron School, they were shorter than me.
That's not true now.
You got that, Tyler.
All right.
Don't break it.
Thank you for being here. Chairman, I'm sorry you couldn't be here for this, but thank you for doing this for our boys and for our community.
We do have 7 other gentlemen, but they're playing
Yes.
baseball today.
My back to anybody. All right. So Cayuga County salutes Port Byron School boys varsity basketball team. Whereas in our society, it's an important civic responsibility and a great honor for any governmental body to grant public recognition, admiration, and gratitude to these very citizens who have helped to build this community and influence the future of its citizens. And whereas the residents of Cayuga County, other individuals and organizations are recognizing the Port Byron School boys varsity basketball team and their coach for being selected by the International Association of Approved Basketball Officials Incorporated to receive the 2022-2023 John Sherlock Sportsmanship Award. And whereas this award is presented annually to the high school program that's exhibited the highest level of sportsmanship and fair play. That's huge, guys. Whereas Cayuga County recognizes this tremendous award that has been given to the players Dalton Clark, Tyler Compson, Anthony Fiacco, Jack Hargreaves, Cody Jerebeck, Dominic LaFramboise, Matt Laird, Connor Lang, Ian Mack, Drew Nolan, Connor Usowski, and their coach Dave Cornish. Now therefore be it resolved that Honorable David Gould, Chairman of the Cayuga County Legislature, and our fellow legislators do hereby proclaim in this time when our children have been facing unprecedented adversity and serious challenges. It is refreshing to see that good old-fashioned values still remain, and urge the residents of our county to join with us in recognizing the significant achievements made by the Port Byron School boys varsity basketball team. Thank you. Good job, guys.
Speech.
The next 3 proclamations are to do with the Public Health Week, Mental Health Awareness Month, and Sexual Assault Awareness Month. And I'm going to ask the chair of that committee to do the presentation on those. Chair DJJ.
You want us one at a time or all at once?
One at a time.
We'll do the mental health
proclamation at a time.
Oh, come on up.
Okay, yes, come on. I just thought, come on.
They can all come up.
Oh, yes, come on up, Kathleen. Heather, too.
Thank you.
Okay, Mental Health Awareness Month, May 2023. Whereas mental health includes our emotional, psychological, social well-being, it affects how we think, feel, and act, and it affects how we handle stress, relate to others, and make choices. Whereas mental health allows us to maintain relationships, take care of ourselves, our families, take care of our physical bodies, and respond and adapt to the daily life changes. And whereas a lack of mental health awareness leads to devastating impacts on the well-being of individuals and society. Whereas the National Alliance on Mental Illness is the nation's largest grassroots mental health organization, and co-affiliates Terry and Brett Wazelenko serve as the Cayuga County and Cayuga County area. NAMI NYS provides advocacy, education, support, and public awareness so that individuals and families affected by mental illness can build a better lives. Whereas each business, school, government agency, healthcare provider, organization, and citizens share the burden of mental health problems and have a responsibility to promote mental health wellness and support prevention and treatment efforts. Now therefore be it resolved, I, David Gould, Chair of the County Legislature, and fellow legislators do proclaim May 23, 2023 as Mental Health Month in Cayuga County. And the Cayuga County Legislature Chair, I also call upon citizens, government agencies, public and private institutions, businesses and schools in Cayuga County to commit our community to increasing awareness and understanding of mental health, the steps our citizens can take to protect their mental health, and need for appropriate and accessible services for all people with mental health conditions. Yes, you certainly can.
I'm sorry, I just asked if I could add something. I am Terry Wassilenko, and that's my husband, Bart Wassilenko. Sumner Youngs, Jamie Leone.
I'm Kathleen Cuddy.
Kathleen.
She's there for public health
It just
awareness.
kind of slips me sometimes.
I'm a supporter though too.
So I just wanted to thank everyone. Dave, thank you. Mr. Vice Chair, everyone here, legislators, thank you for understanding the significance of mental health conditions and substance use disorders. Mental health conditions and substance use disorders are biological brain disorders and often go hand in hand. According to the National Survey on Drug Use and Health, 45% of Americans experience a dual diagnosis. What's a dual diagnosis? Well, it's when a person has co-occurring disorders. For example, symptoms and issues of a mental health condition can cause a substance disorder. And it can be the other way around. A substance disorder, or use disorder can bring on a mental health condition. These conditions don't just impact the person, but the entire family is affected. Too many of us are still reluctant to discuss these challenges and seek help. NAMI is a place where you can find hope and help. Just very briefly. During the month of May, the NAMI Ribbon Campaign brings the topic of mental health and substance use in our community to the forefront. Displaying a NAMI ribbon demonstrates awareness of these medical conditions and is a visible way to dispel the stigma surrounding mental health and substance use disorders. Stigma leads to the worsening of mental health and substance use disorders because the affected person internalizes shame and feels isolated. As a community, we need to learn the facts, dispel myths, and talk about these brain disorders the way we talk about other medical conditions. So it's time to kick stigma to the curb. Are you with me?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes, chase them back.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes.
Next proclamation is for National Public Health Week. Whereas the week of April 3rd through 9th, 2023 is National Public Health Week, and the theme is centering and celebrating cultures and health. And whereas the field of public health is grounded in the fundamental truth that we are all in this together, that our health is connected and we are stronger as a nation when we work together to lift everyone's well-being. During National Public Health Week, we celebrate the life-saving work our public health professionals do to keep Americans healthy and safe. Whereas the Cayuga County Health Department provides many programs and services to our community. The Women, Infant, and Children program strives towards increasing quality of life of the community by focusing on the youngest members of our community, their mothers and caretakers. The environmental staff perform restaurant septic inspections to ensure safe drinking water and food for the public. And whereas the entire health department works on emergency preparedness, emergencies may arise are pandemic illness, natural disasters, chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear emergencies. And their training and preparation helped them respond to the COVID-19 pandemic. Whereas our community greatly benefits from all the dedication and hard work of the Cayuga County Health Department pours into the many programs. Now therefore be it resolved, I, David S. Gould, do hereby proclaim the week of April 1st through 9th, 2023 as National Public Health Week 2023 in Cayuga County, and urge the residents of our county to join us in recognition of the Cayuga County Health Department.
Speak long. I know it's a busy meeting, and thank you to our public health employees who are here today also. It's great. We appreciate the acknowledgement of National Public Health Week and the work of our staff, programs, and partners. The past few years has certainly put public health work on the map for people. Our mission is to prevent, protect, and promote the health and well-being of the community we serve. Some success stories of local public health. In Cayuga County in 1953, there were 34 cases of polio, 22 of which were paralytic. Because of the development of vaccine and the public response, by 1962, there were 0 cases in Cayuga County. We have seen the expansion of public sewers and septic systems, which prevent disease and help protect our drinking water. We have seen diminished injuries through things as simple as using crosswalks and wearing seatbelts. This is all public health. To conclude, I offer the Arabian proverb that I believe speaks to all of us. He who has health has hope, and he who has hope has everything. Thank you.
Ladies.
The next proclamation is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, April 2023. Whereas nationally, one in 3 women and 1 in 4 men will experience some form of sexual assault in their lifetime. Whereas Sexual Assault Awareness Month draws attention to the fact that sexual violence is widespread and has implications for every community member. Whereas there is compelling evidence that we can be successful in reducing sexual violence through prevention education, increased awareness, holding perpetrators who commit acts of violence responsible for their actions. And whereas we must work together to educate our community about what can be done to prevent sexual assault and how to support survivors. Whereas anyone can be a leader in preventing and ending sexual violence. As employers, educators, parents, friends, we all have an obligation to uphold the basic principle that every individual should be free of violence, from violence and fear. And whereas the theme for Sexual Assault Awareness Month is Start the Conversation, we encourage every person to start conversations about what sexual violence is, how to prevent it, how to help survivors connect with services, and to speak out against harmful attitudes and actions. Now, therefore, be it resolved, I've been Dave Gould for a few times so far. I, Dave Gould, Chairman of the Cayuga County Legislature, and fellow legislators, do hereby proclaim this month of April 2023 Sexual Assault Awareness Month.
I'm going to keep this quick. My name is Heather Petras. I'm the Executive Director of Cayuga Counseling Services, and our agency is the umbrella agency for SAVAR, which is the Rape Crisis Program for our county. This is Sarah Van Dorn. She's our Deputy Director, and this is Nicole Balker. She is the Director of our Victim Services. So this proclamation, first and foremost, is for the survivors of sexual assault. It's also for our community partners, because we do not do this work in isolation. So law enforcement, the District Attorney's Office, Child Protective Services, all of our multidisciplinary partners. So thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Literally discussion right now.
Tonight, but maybe.
All right. So those that were here for proclamations, they can stay and enjoy some riveting legislative work by Cayuga County legislators, or they would like to stand up and leave at this time without being, go ahead and head out the door and make some room. All right, presentations. And Ashley, I don't know how to say the last name,
Ashley Mensch.
Ashley Mensch, thank you for speaking up. For Nick's Ride.
You may have gotten it right.
No, thank you.
Good evening, everybody. We have a few more folks with us. I think they were out in the hallway.
Bring them in.
We're gonna bring them in, so. I am Ashley Mensch, and I am the Executive Director at Nick's Ride for Friends right here in Auburn, New York. We're here tonight to talk a little bit about what we're doing in 2023 and to also clarify for folks what peer services are. So we have 5 slides, so I'll just say next slide. Learned from last year, we had like 28 slides, so I simplified it this year for everybody. But I figured it would be a good idea to just do a quick run through about what peer services are, how they function, and where they're functioning right now in Cayuga County to help folks with substance use disorders and mental health challenges. So first and foremost, peer support services are evidence-based practice, meaning there's a lot of research with qualitative and quantitative evidence that indicates that peer support services are effective. They lower the overall cost of services. They improve the quality of life for individuals and related outcomes. They reduce rehospitalizations and inpatient services while promoting outpatient services. They increase satisfaction and the experience with treatment providers, therefore increasing retention in treatment. They reduce the rates of reoccurrence of substance use. They help to improve the engagement in treatment efforts as well as participation. They help to increase trust in services and team collaboration. Peer services are client-centered and trauma-informed. Peer services rely upon leveraging lived experiences to connect with others. They promote recovery. They're an integral component of the behavioral healthcare delivery system. They're recognized as best practices by federal and state authorities. And they're outlined in President Biden's Unity Agenda and National Mental Health Strategy to increase system capacity, connect more Americans to care, reduce barriers, and increase access to behavioral health care. And the Nick's Ride, we have built a peer organization that promotes these things. So we're really excited to talk about peer services. For the next slide. Next slide for you. Thank you. All right. So peer functionality. Junction, what's your function? We figured we'd outline what the peer function is. Peers are not clinical, yet they can engage in a wide range of activities that promote recovery from substance use disorders and other mental health challenges. Peers are people who have lived experience with substance use or mental health conditions and recovery. Peers leverage the lived experiences through sharing their stories to help promote relationships built upon mutuality and trust. There are no hierarchical relationships between peers and the clients they serve. Peers are strength-based. They build upon folks' strengths. Peers access recovery capital, which is defined as internal and external resources available to help support individuals towards recovery and away from suffering. Peers provide a continuum of support or relationship that spans all transitions and levels of care. So where are we at today in 2023? Our community was really fortunate to have been the recipients of funding from the National Institute of Health for the Healing Community Studies, which just concluded. And thankfully, we have some wonderful grant writers in our community. And we have another grant now that we're working with that really helps us continue the work that we started with Healing Communities. Under the Bureau of Justice Assistance, we are providing funding for more peer services at strategic intercept locations where our folks are commonly observed and where they touch the system most.
So through our endeavors with the Healing Community Studies, we've established a connection and project with the Auburn Police Department and first responders who send us a weekly list of some of our city's most vulnerable folks. On that list is the suicide attempts, the welfare checks, and the overdoses that happen in the city of Auburn. Last year, there was 180 incidences. Once you got rid of duplication and the folks that were pronounced dead on arrival, there was 139 unduplicated individuals on the list. Of the 139 folks on the list, our peers were able to respond through outreach efforts, through peer services in the jail, and through peer services at the local hospital to 41% or 57 of those individuals. We also have our drop-in center, so that's our home base. But a lot of folks, you know, it's feast or famine in there, and it's because they're out in the community now at these crucial points. We're part of the BGA grant allows us to be at the centralized arraignment program, which is 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. 7 days a week, which is really fun to figure out and staff, but we've done it. And it's very rewarding. And we've recently had a meeting with the magistrates of Cayuga County to get them informed as to this project and what we're attempting to do, divert people away from the justice system towards treatment. And we're very hopeful that that's going to produce good outcomes for the people who need it most. We are in the hospital and the behavioral health and emergency departments with Douglas. He's actually the peer that's in the hospital. We are in, he's going to talk to you a little bit more about that. And we're in the Cayuga County Jail, which Randy is going to talk to you about that. And the other intercept that we're now in and starting to work with is the Child Protective Services with the Department of Social Services in a program that we're not calling the CPS peer, even though the Office of Mental Health calls their peers Certified Peer Specialists, which the acronym for that is CPS. So I just want to throw that out there because I think we need to come up with a different acronym. Whereas the OASIS peers, which is the Office of Alcohol and Substance Use Services, is SERPA, which is a Certified Peer Recovery Advocate. Funny story, I thought a SERPA when I first started in this role was a Sherpa because they lead people up the mountain, right? And then they were like, no, we're not Sherpas, right? I do now. So we're working with a project called Keeping Families Together. That's what we're calling the CPS Intercept. So without further ado, I'd like to turn it over to Doug and then Randy to talk a little bit about the hospital work and the jail.
I really didn't want to go first. I lost the flip coin on that one. But been a fantastic journey being part of the next ride. It wasn't too long ago that 3 of these slide presentations up here I was seeing, but it wasn't for good reasons. Oh, I was arrested several times by the Auburn Police Department, and they all knew my name, and it wasn't in a good way. You know, I remember going to the hospital on several occasions, you know, under the influence every single time. And I also ended up in jail a few times. And I've been blessed so far to take this journey with Next Ride and connect with the Auburn Police Department. And now I actually wave to them at intersections and they wave back. And I remember going into the emergency room a couple of times and hearing the doctors and nurses saying, oh no, here he is again. And now they all know me by name and they're welcome. They're glad that I'm there. Because I have the opportunity to, you know, people under the influence, I can talk with the doctors and find out where they're at. I can actually get them out of the emergency room and get them into treatment. And the nurses love that because I'm freeing up all the beds, which is a critical part in the ER. But I just can't say it enough how blessed I am to be able to stand here and tell you people that, you know, like Nami was saying earlier, that I was one of them guys with a stigma that no one wanted anything to do with me. In the period next ride, I have the opportunity to share my story. And when people come in with zero hope in their eyes, I know where they're at. I can communicate with them. I can talk to them, and they understand that I was one of them people at one time. And it makes a very unique conversation sometimes. Some of the words I can't use here right now, but we understand each other. And I am the first member of hope that some of these people actually see. And maybe be able to point them in the right direction. You know, there's so many routes that Mixed Ride for Friends take. I mean, we have a lot of resources out there, and we're all coming together. I mean, it wasn't too long ago that we didn't have, you know, the sheriffs, the police on our side. The stigma was real, you know, but we're making it aware that, you know, this is a disease and people are suffering in this town. It's very high number. But today I could go on and on, but Randy's gonna beat me up too, so I'm just gonna tell you that Mixed Ride is the one organization that within 100-mile radius, you'll never find another place like this. And it's needed in this community very, very muchly by the numbers that come through the door, by the people that we help in the jails, by the people that we help in the hospital, by the people that we help with DSS. You know, this is getting big and it's getting real. And thank you for your time.
I'm going to have Randy come up and thank you, Doug. He's going to talk to you a little bit about what's going on in the jail and the recovery pod with his peer work.
My name's Randy. I'm in recovery. Last year I had the honor of speaking here, and I got to share my experience, my strength and hope with you guys. This year, quite a bit has changed since last year. I was just starting working up at the jail last year. So this year with the recovery pod got kicked off. You know, we have lots of agencies up there, and the Cayuga County Jail, it's kind of special to me, believe it or not. Kind of crazy for me to say that. You know, my journey kind of got a head start by going to jail in 2020, August 23rd. And today, when I go up to the jail every day, my first group that I do every morning, I walk by the cell that I had a quarantine in for 15 days. So it's kind of like our constant reminder. You know, so the one thing that I think one of my strengths that I get from my journey of going through the CCJ is empathy, right? Like having a really understanding of what those guys are going and girls are going through. You know, being in jail and you're waiting for everybody else to come up with answers. You know, you're locked in, you're powerless, you have no control. And all everybody tells you to do, you gotta do up there is work on acceptance, you know. You know, so I go up there and I run groups every day up there, you know, about 2 to 3 groups a day. And they say in recovery, well, we can't do alone, we can do together. You know, I work with some really fine people up there, so all the agencies in Auburn, Cayuga Counseling, Cayuga County Mental Health, Chad, the jail staff, Liberty Resources, Code G, best of the best. You know, we're all working together with a common goal. And you know, going up there and, you know, having an opportunity to share my experience with those guys, that's doing just as much good for me as it is doing for them. Because I know early on in my journey, you know, when you're at the lowest point and you're feeling hopeless and powerless and you don't know what the next step that you're going to take, a little bit of hope go a long ways. You know, and a lot of these people, they're in there, they're scared. You know, they're scared of when they're out. You know, and we also do a post-release program that we work with. You know, that's that's where I tell them, that's where the fight starts, right? Like we look at jail, like that's our training camp. We're getting ready for the fight. But when you step out of that jail and you're going home or whatever you're doing, that's when the bell rings. Well, that's when the fight begins. But the first step that we have to do to prepare for that fight, right, is we gotta surrender. You know, and a lot of the people that I work with up there, that's the challenging part. You know, and they're scared, you know, and they're starting their lives over again. You know, and that's what happened for me. You know, I was in the same spot. I was scared. I was starting my life over again. But I got lucky. I got around with a bunch of people. And like I say all the time, you know, like I had to do that same thing that I'm telling those guys to do, is that surrender. And like I was drowning when I got up here, right? Like I say this all the time. But nobody jumped in and saved me, you know, because you got to do the work yourself, right? But they taught me how to swim. And that's what I try to do now up there. You know, I try to the best of my ability, is I try to teach the people that I work with to swim, right? But they're the ones that gotta move their arms. You know, so we give them the tools to use and the resources, and they gotta do the work. But thanks for coming out, and thanks for giving me an opportunity to speak. Thank you very much.
So our work is all about community impact. And it happens in many forms, but as it's been said by NAMI and echoed by Doug and Randy tonight, it's about offering hope. And I think the easiest way we all have the ability to do this is by letting go of judgment. You know, when we're younger, we hear a lot like, you know, you don't know how this person lives, what goes on behind closed doors. You haven't walked a mile in their shoes. And I really think that when you let go of judgment and you try to just see how you can be of service to folks, it does really bring hope and light into somebody's life. Because I think that's one of the biggest fears people have, is that they're going to be judged. And, you know, we're here to say, please be mindful of that. You know, there's this thing called fundamental attribution error, which says that like if somebody is doing something that you see that you don't understand, there's a likelihood that you are going to blame the person for whatever that behavior is. But if you find yourself engaging in that behavior, you are going to attribute it to circumstances. We all do this to some degree. And so I think that's just something to be really familiar with, because I think that then leads to judgment. And for whatever it's worth, people that are down and out, you know, they just need somebody that can care and offer some compassion and empathy, as Randy has said. So, and it's bigger than the person. So what I found in going from Grace House to Nick's Ride is that cycles of poverty are any one person's fault, right? It's a systems thing. So from that angle, it's much easier to be compassionate and understanding of issues that other folks face. Thank you for letting us come out and share our community impact. Any questions?
Thank you very
All
much.
right, awesome.
Appreciate
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for the presentation.
All right, moving forward. Privilege of the floor. Reach out to the legislators to see if anybody, you had something and Mark. Nope, go right ahead. Please.
I have two individuals who are looking to have privilege of the floor. Jenny Kent is one, if you'd like to come up, Jenny, and then Jason Meyer is next.
Okay.
Good evening. That's a really tough act to follow. It's really a wonderful presentation. My name is Jenny Kent. I'm an Auburn City Councilor and member of the Owasco Lake Watershed Management Council. And I thank you for this opportunity to speak tonight. I'm going to read so I can get within my 3 minutes. Forgive me. You recently received a letter from the Auburn City Councilors regarding the watershed monitoring program that has been in discussion, and my comments are a follow-up to that letter. In the next month or so, you will be making a decision about a watershed monitoring program for Owasco Lake. As you know, a great deal of money and resources have been invested over many years in the protection of Owasco Lake by the county, the city, town of Owasco, neighboring towns and villages, state and federal funds, farmers, businesses, property owners, private foundations, and I could go on and on. When we make decisions about protecting our water, we stand on the shoulders of all of those efforts that are going on now and have come before us. So where does watershed monitoring fit into this? We rely on the county to ensure the continuation of monitoring data from year to year to help mitigate the damage caused by, for example, harmful algal blooms, and disinfection byproducts. We learn about the impact of major weather events on the health of our lake and much more. Finger Lakes Institute has been providing this service for years, giving us a reliable body of knowledge. Earlier this year, as a legal purveyor of drinking water, the city of Auburn was required by law to send a letter to all Auburn public water users informing them that while still drinkable, sampling results indicated we had exceeded EPA standards for a disinfection byproduct. This has never happened before, and it was a bit of a wake-up call to us. And while a ban on drinking water is by no means imminent, I want you to think for a moment, what would happen if Owasco Lake water was deemed undrinkable? It would affect every aspect of our lives. Property values might drop, new businesses, new residents, and tourists might look elsewhere. Our existing businesses would surely struggle. And imagine the impact it would have on our own Cayuga County Health Department, as they would be charged with responding to this emergency and also ensuring our population had access to potable drinking water. But one of the most important resources the county and the state would look for as they began to review this crisis would be the very data that has been compiled over the past several years by the Finger Lakes Institute's watershed monitoring program. I respectfully ask you to please continue the watershed monitoring program for Owasco Lake. It's very important. And I thank you again very much for this opportunity.
You had a second person?
Yeah, Jason Meyer.
Or whether she's scared.
Start with your name and address, or?
So,
No?
yep, I'm Wally. I live in Standard Woods.
Okay, thanks.
I'm Layla. I will preface with the youth that came to the legislative meeting last time and did not feel welcome. In fact, some stated they were scared. One asked to come to the ledge meeting. They asked why. Why are they being you, the legislature, couldn't come here? We decided as a team that I would come represent the center and be the voice for the youth that attend. We are in the beginning stages of building something awesome. Hello, my name is Layla. I'm here to talk about LJ Safe Place. My father and I have spent 4 months now working together to make it happen, from patching holes, painting, getting things donated, collecting bottles and cans, staying late to make sure the work is right, to now open Tuesday through Friday, 3 to 8. Volunteer on Saturdays or going on trips is in the forecast. We started a youth group on Tuesday nights for you to check in. LJ's is a positive and safe environment for you to go. So far, we have had 164 youth come to LJ since March 6th. They come here to express themselves through art, music, writing, talking, get help with school, socialize with other youth. And we get to have lots of fun, play video games, ping pong, pool, board games, and a lot of us love to play goldfish. Sherry teaches that game. We also sing and eat food, lots of food. LJ's has put me back on my feet. It has brought me back to life. It put me in the mindset where I can do anything in life. It has given me reason to live when just 3 months ago, I didn't think I had anything to live for. I was struggling for a long time. The struggle started because I was attacked by a girl, beaten to the ground. My dad believes in more than one chance. I've had 9 million. So I came up with the name LJ's, safe place. L is for Layla, me, and J is for Janasia, the girl that beat me up. Although her and I are not best friends, we can be in the same room though. We all work towards for being on the team. There is some red tape though. LJ's has put me in the right mindset where I can help others get to the point that they have been trying to get to. When I'm at LJ's Safe Place, I try to be a role model for others. And some of the youth that's only been coming here for a month, I have seen an incredible change in them already. And I am so beyond grateful for LJ's Safe Place. Thank you all for your support.
Just so everyone knows, the 164 was the last time she looked. It's actually 178 since March 6th. We got 3 people volunteering there now. We have lots of people that want to donate their time, but we have put together a process before we can bring them on board and let them be around kids by themselves. We've had 3 fundraisers and raised over $5,000. We're starting to work with the schools, BOCES. I had a nice meeting with Parazzolo today. I guess I'll talk a little bit about 2 people. There's a young lady, I won't say her name because it's confidentiality stuff. When she first started coming to LJ, she came with her head down. She had a hood on and a mask on, and she would barely even talk to anybody. Now she comes and follows me around everywhere and gives me a hard time, plays ping pong, talks to all the other kids and has a good time, right? That's kind of the point here. I won't go into where she comes from because you can gather that, right? The other person I'd like to talk about, we'll call him Bobby. That's not his real name either. Bobby has an alcohol problem. He also wants to get a GED and wants to go to college. So I started working with Bobby. I know Bobby's mom. I grew up next door to her, and he's still flippy floppy, but the point is that he's doing good work, right? Recovery is not linear, even for youth. We're buying a stove so we can cook for the youth so they don't eat all the candy bars and granola bars in a week or a day, right? They can eat like 12 granola bars. One kid can eat 12 granola bars in an hour. They're pretty hungry. Here's what we see. Lots of mental health. Kids are struggling with mental health. That's the bottom line. And they want to be heard. They just want someone to listen most of the time. It's saddening to hear some things that the places that they come from that they just won't be heard. Next, so the last thing I'll say is 2 things. Today, Layla went back to school. She's been out of school for about a month and a half. Her first day back at school with an escort was attacked by a girl connected to the girl that attacked her 2 years ago. We had a nice meeting with the superintendent. We need change, folks. We need change. It's unacceptable to act that way. If I can't act in violence, why does my daughter keep being put in the same position? Anyways, what she did was said, no, I'm going to go to school tomorrow. They wanted to put safety plans in place and have people follow her around. And she said, no. I want to look the world in the eye and I want to face it. Fortunately, that's because she's got a bunch of kids that she's running with it that are all struggling with the same stuff. I'm going to ask that we put our differences aside, our opinions, our gripes, whatever we don't like about each other. LJ Safe Place needs support. That's the bottom line. Next month, I'm going to work with my local legislator and apply for funding just to pay the rent. So we can use my funding to pay for other stuff like trips and shoes and food. Thank you for listening.
Legislator Strong.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If I may, I would like to be very clear on my position of water testing on Owasco and Cayuga Lakes. I support the most advanced and factual testing available. Wise use and sound conservation practices of our watersheds and lakes will hopefully keep our lakes clean and our drinking water safe for many generations to come. Thank you.
Anyone else from the legislature before I move on? Yes.
Mr. Acting Chair. I do have some constituents from our organization today to speak. I didn't have them sign up, but if they would like to approach the podium and state your name and address.
My name is Ann Robson. My address is 4261 Westlake Road. I live within the town of Scipio. I am the town clerk of Scipio and the current president of the Owasco Watershed Lake Association. I also was a founding member of this group back in 1988. So it has been a journey in looking at water quality issues within our county. It's a very complex situation when we look at drinking water standards, protecting the quality of our water. Allah sent out a letter to the members of the legislature about a week ago with our concerns of the decision back in March of discontinuing the funding for monitoring within the lake. So just wanted to have an opportunity today to express those concerns in person. And if you have questions that you could ask. We understand that there are many viewpoints with all of our partners within the watershed regarding water quality issues, and that county lawmakers need to support and enact policy decisions that are designed to improve water quality for both drinking and full recreational use of Owasco Lake and its watershed. Long-term monitoring detects trends and statistically documents patterns that lead to scientifically based decisions. Continued monitoring is important during the summer months when harmful algal blooms have reached record levels of toxicity, and the disinfection process for drinking water has led to elevated levels of harmful byproducts. Unprecedented levels of toxins were detected in water samples taken within the city of Auburn that provides public drinking water to city residents, 8 towns, and 3 villages. The byproducts of the disinfectants used to remove these toxins reached levels that exceeded federal drinking water health standards last year. So the benefits of continued consistent lake monitoring cannot be understated. We feel that the request for the $22,000 to continue the monitoring into 2023 is a very small percentage within your $170 million budget. This is money well spent to ensure that the people who reside here have safe drinking water. AULA also backs that with our fundraising and grant applications. We put aside this year $20,000 for the Hemlock Woolly Adelgid campaign, $15,000 for water sampling analysis, as well as all of the thousands of hours of volunteer efforts with these concerns within the watershed. So I just ask that you reconsider the request that will be placed before you with the county in regards to continuing the monitoring. And I also would like to introduce 2 other members of AULA here who have other items to share. Who would like to start?
Hi, I'm Julie Lockhart. I live at 6720 East Lake Road, officially Owasco, but with an Auburn zip code. I came here 2015. I had not lived in Auburn very long, in Owasco, but I lived across the street from the lake, and I saw something very disturbing on a day in August in 2014. I was walking along the shore and I saw this weird green paint stuff along the edge of the shore. And I thought, that's strange. I've never seen anything like that before. It was the day that Governor Cuomo was coming to the Governor's Cup Challenge the next day to highlight the beauty of our lake, the economic viability of it, the recreational value, enjoy the natural beauty. And when he came the next day, he was put on a fishing boat and off he went out to the middle of the lake, while the beach at Emerson Park was closed because there were toxins that were possibly there, unsafe for the populace to be in the water. And I thought, this is an emperor has no clothes moment. I have to do something. So I came here. I think the at issue was whether the county was going to continue to fund just one watershed inspector or maybe two. And I said, I have to go and say hello to my new community and say, what you have here is spectacular. It is so precious. And I think we're going to learn more about that as time comes along and Micron comes here. Water, we live in the richest place for water in the world. 21% of the world's fresh water is in the Great Lakes Basin, and we are part of that. If we don't take care of our water, who will? And how do we know what's in the water when all we can see is the surface? I have volunteered to take samples from lakes, from the lake, from streams, look for HABs. I go through the woods looking for the woolly adelgids. I put a lot of time and effort, and I got paid a whopping $0 for it. In fact, I spent money to do this. So the buoy and the data we get is so valuable, so valuable. It sees all the way down to the bottom, can't go. And it tells us twice a day what's happening. We don't want Wall Street to show us what's happening with the stock market every once in a while. We want it every minute, right? This is our health. This is our way of life, and this is our water. So we have to keep this body of information flowing, pardon the pun, because we need it. And with interruptions, it's going to be yet less useful. And it's not for a day or a year or 10 years or 20 years. It's hopefully for hundreds of years, as long as we can be here with this lake to see what's happening, because it doesn't all change at once. There are patterns we can't see unless we look for a long time. So that's what I wanted to say. Thank you for your attention.
The most important thing we're talking about here is the data. If you think about your life, every decision you make is based on the data that you acquire. And as Julie said, we've spent the last number of years sloshing around with boots in the tribs, getting samples and working with Dr. Happen and his team to get in-lake samples so we can start to get a rational understanding of what's happening. But we're at a good point now. We've got a 9 elements plan that's been approved finally. We've got a committee that's getting together to start to put information together on what the next steps are going to be to start to clean up the watershed. And all that's based on data. If you got good data, you can make good decisions. If you don't have good data, you're not going to make good decisions. So what it's all about is that continuity, continuing approach to the way we're gathering data so that we can be consistent in what our next steps are. So we're going to fix the lake. Data is going to tell us what to do. So thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you.
Any questions? Thank you again for the opportunity. We appreciate having a moment to be heard. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming. Legislature, anyone else have anything that they want to address before the body, before we continue on?
Yeah, I'd just like to have Doug Kears for 10 seconds, remind people of the farm tour this week.
Sure. Doug, are you?
Yeah, just
wanted to let anybody know that there is a farm tour coming up at Patterson Farms. They're gonna start at CMI on Thursday at 5:00, 5:15. Load a bus and go check some things out. So any legislators or officials that want to learn a little bit about the farming industry, more than welcome to attend.
Thank you.
Those are good when you put them on.
Anyone else? So before we move on, I'm going to roll back to public hearing just to see if we've had anyone that would like to speak on behalf of the Cold War veterans, and also remind them of the number that they can call in for. So if there's anyone who'd like to speak, this would be the time. And for those that are watching on YouTube, 315-294-8051. Again, 315-294-8051. Yes. So we haven't received any phone calls. It's been approximately an hour for that public hearing. So I'd like to close the public hearing at this time. There's no further questions. Do I need a motion for that? No. Okay, so we'll close the public hearing. Thank you. Minutes to approve, March
2nd.
I love you guys. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Communications and announcements, none. We have CCC report. Dr. Durant, is Dr. Durant on? He's here. Here in person.
I apologize for that.
No, sir.
Good to be with you. So many new faces, crowded night. Joining with me this evening is also Angela Winfield, one of our trustees by Zoom, and certainly our legislative liaison, trustee Trishker. Voting's on a different side of the room. People in person. Good to be back and not on the Zoom screen today. This spring, this year, certainly like any other, is a busy time for the college. We're focused in the last several weeks and months on our advocacy for state funding and helping to get some assurance on what we can expect from the state as we develop institution's budget for 2023-24. As the state budget continues to be in process, as I'm sure you're aware, we want to continue to advocate for flat funding year over year with a 4% increase of base aid that allows us to have the increase to, really support the institution's vibrancy and also our agility to be able to be responsive to new and emerging community needs. I'm sure you can appreciate that as an institution where students choose to enroll, they have to pay to attend. Anytime we can have the security of, what we can expect from the state, that allows us to be mindful of what our tuition increases may or may not have to be and how we're going to be able to be best positioned for our future. So in the coming hours and days, as some of you are engaged with our local and regional state representatives, certainly ask them to support the community college and SUNY package that includes base funding at level of plus of 4%. That would be greatly appreciated. Also in the state budget package, we're hopeful that we'll get the support in the enacted budget for our police academy. Our police academy that we're looking to construct in our Fulton campus certainly has come with the appreciation at the college and our trustees from the legislature and certainly from the sheriff's office here. We recognize that one of the backbones, pillars of our economic development and certainly our responsibility is to help provide affordable and high quality training for regional law enforcement. We've had a great deal of support for this project, and certainly our faculty are continuing to be engaged with multiple agencies to ensure pathways that are seamless and to ensure pathways that can help expose potential future law enforcement officers to what the industry may be and to be able to have an understanding of what to expect on the time that they can enter an academy. Within the state budget, we're able to try to secure about $400,000 in matching funding that we were able to receive the original match from Oswego County. Certainly our strategic partner and the county in which our Fulton campus resides, we're very much appreciative, as I mentioned before, of their generosity and commitment to help see this project move forward. In recent weeks, some of you may have noticed up in Grand Avenue, our Workforce Development Center construction, which is a $4 million project, has begun. Unfortunately, a number of trees have been removed, which might be the first thing that people see. That's comments I've been able to receive related to it. Those trees were not just removed for the purpose of removing trees, although I think opening up the future look of the building is important for the identity of the college. There was actually some concern related to gas lines and other public utilities that would be near some of the root structures of those trees. So I understand, I've heard some concerns, and it was something that, although it may have been done otherwise, it was done for necessity, at least at this point in time. But this project is one that has been talked about for a number of years. We've appreciated the support of the legislature over the number of years when it comes to seeking the funding through CFA, through a generous gift of the local cooperative extension board, as well as the matching funds that have come in through a number of other philanthropic groups in the state of New York. This $4 million project, its vision continues to be a workforce development center, leveraging partners in multiple agencies, including the college's area of workforce development, enrichment, partnerships with several agencies in youth, the Department of Labor, certainly Cayuga County's Employment and Training, and a number of other agencies that are currently a part of Cayuga Works, to be able to not just coexist or locate a facility, but to identify strategic opportunities to leverage and enhance training, support, exploration for all ages of individuals, from youth and certainly to later in career. We all know we're at a time where we talk about the state level and locally shared services and working together. And this should be an exemplar model, how we can take the opportunity to have a facility and to leverage multiple public dollars, public resources, and public entities to think beyond what has existed and to make an impact that aligns our aspiration with a community leadership aspiration, and to be able to achieve what's necessary for future economic and human resource development needs. It's as simple as that. Everyone may not get the purpose sometimes, but I hope we can all start to understand what the opportunity can be. That's what's critical. Recently, we were able to take a tour with certainly Kelly King from the Office of Employment and Training, and Dan from Cornell Cooperative Extension, and a number of other partners and potential partners, to be able to start to see beyond the dust and debris and ahead towards, I think, a symbolic opportunity to be able to have and center in a high traffic area within our county and within our community. That workforce development is critical, it's important, and it's on our forefront of our minds. Similarly, it's great that have had the opportunity, a number of our leaders of the campus have been able to be part of this community's Micron group. I'm also part of one in Oswego County and also engaged with several other higher education projects. Later this week, I'll have the good fortune to spend a number of hours with leadership from Micron to continue not only to talk about what the college offers and provides, but how we'll stand ready, not just alone, but with you, to be able to provide the services for education and training, which is what we do at the college, to be able to help support this regional effort. But as I've said in other forums, one of the things that I know that we need to continue to do, and I appreciate Chair Gould's leadership on this, as well as many others, is this isn't just about Micron. This is about how are we aligning our resources across multiple leadership perspectives to be able to ensure that the current employer needs are met, and that using something like the Workforce Development Center, like community conversation as strategic, to be able to demonstrate to our greater community the great that can happen when we work together, leverage our resources, and to support prosperity for industry and for people. So as we look ahead in the coming weeks, the college will finalize its operating budget for next year. And we'll look to bring that forward probably in July, like we have in similar months. We may be looking at a modest tuition increase. We've had a couple of years where we've been able to hold it at zero, but fixed costs continue to escalate. Enrollment, although is slightly in the decline this year, we are on pace to exceed our enrollment expectations for 22-23, which has allowed us to increase our projection for next year and within our revenue assumptions. So stay tuned. I'll speak to that at a later date. Within your packet tonight, one of the resolutions in front of you is to support the Seminole Agreement between the college, the Board of Trustees, and the adjunct union, using abbreviated terms. This agreement has been in process for a long time, and one that I certainly would appreciate and advocate for your support to approve. And this, like I said, will allow us to have a seminal agreement with this group. And, that's an important thing for us to be able to move forward with our labor policy for the college's planning related to the particular agreement itself. Be happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Legislators? Anything? Certainly not at this time. Thank you very much.
Thank
In the flesh. Okay, committee reports and any individual legislator reports. Start with before, well, the hands went up. Holy mackerel. Go from right, oh, go ahead.
This really isn't a report, but this is something that I told Lauren that I would bring forward and talk to the county legislature about when we're all here in a group. There was a resolution that was passed, I think, in January of 22, authorizing the mental health department to accept a $66,000 workforce grant from OMH in the amount of $66,000. And we did, if you recall, go back and forth about how these funds would be used. And the agreement was that the funds would be used to do staff development, training, and similar functions to that. A year ago, the mental health department had a retreat. They developed for all the staff. They had staff development opportunities for this one day. And they spent, I don't know, a portion of those funds, the $66,000 last year. Those funds were rolled over into the 2023 budget. And again, to use those funds as dedicated. They want to have a purchase order so that the second retreat can happen and further staff development could be coordinated. The issue is that the resolution itself said that the allocation and expense of these funds shall be subject to further approval by the county legislature. And I think there was some reluctance to let this the purchase order go forward for the use of these funds unless there was a general agreement by this legislature that had no objection to them using the funds for staff development and this retreat day. They want to do the same thing this year. And I'm giving the opportunity, if there is anyone not in support of that, speak now or forever hold your peace.
Yes.
Just, Mr. Chair, point of order, so I understand it. We don't have to do anything.
No, there's no resolution. There's just a general agreement that there is, the intent of this is on, and that there should be no concern about booking the same thing next year or this year.
Thank you.
Anything else? Anybody? No objection from,
No objection.
oh, okay. Hearing no objection, then I would say that they could go forward with it.
Great.
All right. Lee?
Thank you. Chairman Gould asked me to read a letter today into the record that we received from the City of Auburn. Since 2005, Cayuga County has had an agreement with the Finger Lakes Institute to monitor the water quality of Owasco Lake. This research is important for the implementation of the recently approved 9-element plan and other initiatives that are aimed to improve the water quality of Owasco Lake. On March 28th, 2023, Resolution 323 EL5, which would have authorized the chair of the legislature to execute an agreement between the Finger Lakes Institute and Cayuga County for implementation of fiscal year 2023 Owasco Watershed Monitoring Program did not pass. It came to light that there was a technical glitch that might have led to the resolution form not passing. Regardless, this was an opportunity, there is an opportunity to make things right. The Auburn City Council and Cayuga County Legislature have shared interest in the water quality of Owasco Lake as it provides drinking water to 45,000 people in the city of Auburn, the villages of Cayuga, Port Byron, and Weedsport, the towns of Aurelius, Brutus, Fleming, Troop, Bence, Montezuma, Owasco, Senate, and Springfield, the Cayuga County Water Authority, and the New York State Thruway Authority. Owasco Lake is also an economic engine and a recreational destination for thousands of locals and visitors alike. We, the members of the Auburn City Council, are asking that Resolution 323 PL5 be reconsidered to put up for a vote. That is, all the legislators' members will have an opportunity to vote for what is best for the majority of Cayuga County residents, which is a clean and healthy Owasco Lake. Thank you for your time and consideration. Sincerely, Mayor Michael D. Quill, Councilor James Genentino, Councilor Jenny Kent, Councilor Tim LaCastro, and Councilor Terry Cuddy. Thank you.
Hey, thank you very much. Chairman's report, Dave, I know you're on Zoom. I don't know how you feel, and we can skip by that if need be.
Yeah, Jim, I want to say a few words. A few days ago, when I was working with Shireen and Amanda and Sheila, I had no idea I'd end up here in the hospital. I'd much rather be there with you guys, but I will be back as soon as I can. I miss all of you, but I want to congratulate everybody that got the proclamations today in the presentation. And I appreciate all the kind words I've had since I've been in here. And I will be back with you very soon. And Jim, thank you for taking over for me for this meeting. I appreciate it. And I hope you all stay safe and healthy.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you. Okay, there's no chairman's report, no resolutions voted required. Okay, those just, so there's no vote on that.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
just not sure, but I point out that Shireen, I don't know if you,
Yeah, no, that was,
He's gonna start that next month.
okay,
that was, that got scratched.
copy that.
Literally during the meeting.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so for the Youth Bureau Board, Ashley McLeod, 5 Center Street, Auburn, New York. That term is from 1/1/23 to 12/31/26. Boy, Abby DeFaro, 9122 Pump Road, Jordan, New York. And that is term is from 1/1/23 to 12/31/23. Stuart Penstra, 7445 County House Road, Auburn, New York. Term is from 1/1/23 to 12/31/26. With that, we will move into move into committee reports, Ways and Means. Hans, you want-
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Ways and Means has 4 resolutions. Number 1 has been pulled. So I'm asking for a bundle of WM 2, 3, and 4.
Move it.
Second.
All been through committee, so
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Thank you.
Health and Human Services has had 20.
Many.
Health and Human Services had 22 resolutions. I spent some significant time talking about HH 13, HH 313 and 22 with the Ways and Means Committee. Certainly go over any one again, but if I'd entertain a motion to group together HH1 through HH22 unless someone wanted.
Back at.
Could we separate out HH4?
Certainly. So HH 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22.
I'll move that as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
I'll go back to HH4 because I understand Trish may want to abstain from that vote.
Move it for discussion.
Second. Yeah, and that's to authorize the public health director to enter into contract with Finger Lakes SPCA for the provision of 3 rabies animal clinics. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You're going to abstain, Trish? I'm going to abstain. Great.
So moved. 23.
HH23, I did send some information to everybody in regards to this coming on the agenda late. And it is in lieu of finding ourselves passing an emergency resolution. Some information came forward after the HHS meeting and after the Ways and Means meeting that there's a desire to enter into a contract with Ryan Muldoon for the provision of providing legal services to the guardian cases in the adult unit of the Department of Social Services. There's 15 active guardian cases. There's a report due to the court on all of them at the end of May. At the time of the meeting, there was one attorney resignation. Since that time, there is another of the 3 attorneys. So that means 2 attorneys are effectively leaving. The second attorney will be leaving on April 28th of 2023. There was some discussion.
We move this for discussion first. I mean,
Move this?
move it. That's what I'm thinking.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. So basically, this resolution, if it passes, will take $10,000 out of the Department of Social Services salary line, move it into the contractual line, and the department will enter into a contract with Ryan Muldoon to complete the guardian work of these 15 cases and then take on any additional guardian cases that come up until they're at full.
I already did. So my only question is, so the 10,000's not an absolute, I mean, it can.
No, that they came up with an amount not to exceed $10,000. So they're going to take the 10 out of the salary line, move it into the contractual line. He's going to be charging $150 an hour for the legal work. If there is less money expended, great. If they end up paying more than the $10,000, they'd have to come back with another resolution.
And this is an agreement for services, not a contract for employment. In the meantime, since this will be an open position, that process will move forward.
Yes, this will be an hourly rate agreement with this attorney, and they'll be trying to fill the 2 vacancies they have in the department.
Blaine, you said money doesn't get used. What happens to it?
Well, it stays within the 2023 DSS budget. It just comes out of the salary line and stays in the contractual line.
Want to make sure that was clear. Yep. Thank you.
Do we have an idea of what the average hours are for these cases?
You know, honestly, Christine,
funds were expended. You've got the actual caseworkers who have presumably been in contact with doctors and physicians, monitoring the health, general welfare of our wards. Need to be reported to the court, because it's the court that has appointed Christine Bianco, in fact, as their guardian, their legal guardian. She actually may make life or death decisions for these folks, and the court does, rightly so, have oversight over that and require an annual reporting.
So there's 15 outstanding cases, $10,000, 66 hours. Becomes about 4 hours a case. Is that enough for an attorney to handle that or
The
something?
only thing I would throw in there is that, in addition, there may be people that are reported incapable of managing their own affairs going forward. I mean, then you have to file a petition, get the doctors on the stand, testimony, et cetera, to establish the guardianship for the boards. So, they're anticipating that may come forward as well.
I do believe the $10,000 was their estimation of the funds they would need out of their salary line into the contractual line, but again, there is no way to determine that, only the need to come back before the county if they want.
As I was just wondering, the number chosen was,
Yeah.
They maybe grabbed that out of the air, so to speak. Looked at the average hours of cases, and said, these 15 cases, 4 hours each. That's how they got there. Okay, that's all. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Government ops.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. You're doing a great job. Government operations had 4 resolutions. They've been through both committees, and I would offer them as a bundle at this time.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Moved. Planning, Letter Shay.
I'm gonna happy to report. Be glad to bundle, but I have no resolution and would defer to Public Works.
Thank you.
You want to bundle those? I'll let you.
Legislator Dennison.
Public Works had 5 resolutions. They've been through both committees, so I'll offer them as a bundle unless somebody wants one separated.
Move it. Second. With not hearing any discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Official and public safety.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. Traditional Public Safety has 3 resolutions tonight. JP1 has been pulled. I would offer JP2 and JP3 as a bundle. All were passed that committee, unless someone will get one separate.
Move it.
Any discussion, not hearing any, all in favor?
Aye.
Pledge 1, authorizing appointment for various board agencies.
Move it.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
Motion for executive session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, for
Employment history of a particular person.
promise it'll be short.
We leave, just for the folks that are in here, unless legislators have anything else planned to talk about, when we come back, we'll just be adjourning the executive session and adjourning the meeting, correct? Okay. Hold on. Yes, yes, Dave. One second, my bad. Davis,
For all of you here, before you go to executive session, earlier in the evening, they mentioned that Jim Tabor had passed away this week. And I know he was a good friend of Chairman Gould's, and he served a lot of different functions with him. I just want to mention that he was a fellow legislator here like all of you. And I worked with him for a long time. He was a great guy, and he did a lot of hard work. And we chaired a commission up in Sterling together for a long time. So I just wanted to remember him tonight. It seems like every time you read the paper, you see a friend that's gone, and he's one of us. And I just wanted to have you take a minute tonight to think about him. He was a great guy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Dave. That was very nice.
I forgot something, and Shereen just brought it up.
All right, hold on, we're gonna let's, yeah. Can I have a, let's do it right now. I'd like to re-enter the meeting. Can I have a motion, please?
Second. Thank you. Thank you, folks, for being so forgiving.
We have one other issue that, not an issue, an item to be covered.
Yes,
I'm
one
sorry.
other item. We have the remaining money of the ARPA grants for small business that we are ready to proceed with the
Yeah.
process and to hopefully give away the rest of the $200,000 to small businesses within Cayuga County who lost money during the COVID shutdowns. We have documentation that we're going to be able to distribute to folks who, for small businesses within our county who do not have digital access, will be able to distribute these to our town halls, our town clerk's offices, our libraries, wherever you think would be a good place to make it accessible to our small businesses without digital access. The grant deadline is 4 p.m. Monday, June 12th, 2023. We can start applying now. All of the details are on the, not only the Cayuga County website, but also, and thank you for that, Amanda, and also on CEDA's website. Fortunately for us, not only will these paper formats help the folks who don't have digital access, but as you can see, there's also that little UPC code or whatever they call that to scan and make it easy for people who do have mobile phones. Please encourage your small businesses to apply for this help. We want our small businesses to continue throughout our county. They are crucial to our future. And I thank you all for letting me reroute the meeting.
Thank you. All right. Again, thank you, Lydia.
Thank
I have a
you.
Thanks,
motion
Lydia.
for the employment history for a particular person, executive session. You have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Right. Thank you. Good neighbors.
Guess what's the other one? Don't get in. I don't know. Thank you. So myself. Okay. Explain to them what's going on with the other one.
I just, thank you. It's not really signing off yet.
Yes, I want to think. They're asking what's wrong. Yeah, we gotta go the other way.
Okay, the way then. When it's done, I'll say that you're going to the second session. Take the mind.
Blame both of them. A little bit because it probably all kinds of probably all kinds of rumors going on, so let's explain.
Don't put them on live. Well, I got it. Hey, Dave, you're in the regular meeting still. You got to switch over to the exec.
So go to that first Zoom link that they sent, like, so it was like the one that you got into for the first executive session. There we go. There we go. He's got it now. Perfect.
Executive session.
A little bit.
Wait, I want to say, do we have a second?
Yeah.
Yes.
I always want to say, all rise. All in favor?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Thank you. Thank you very much.